Hi there and what's up? Welcome to my channel if you're new here, and if you are a returning subscriber too, welcome back once again. In this tutorial we are going to be looking at how to create a login screen using the VB.NET programming language. Alright, but before then, let's get to know what at the end of this tutorial you will achieve. Okay, so first of all, you should be able to use text box control, use the button control, the checkbox control, label control, and also a picture box control. Lastly is the panel control. Now, for you to be able to get through this tutorial successfully, you need to have a Visual Studio IDE installed. Okay, I'll be including a download link in the description section below. The color codes for this project is stated clearly here. Alright, so having said that, let's get right into code. So first of all, let me just launch my Visual Studio IDE. Then I'll just hit on create new project from this section here, and I'll search for Visual Basic. Then I'll look for Windows Forms app into bracket.NET framework. Okay, just this one right here. Now hit on next. Then let me say login. Let me name the project login screen. Alright, the location, let's just leave it the default. The solution name as well, default. And the checkbox, let's just leave it unchecked. The framework version of this project too, let's just keep it as low as 4.5, and then just hit on create. A quick notice, I'm using the version 2019 of the Visual Studio IDE, so if you are using a different version, your interface might be a bit different from mine. Okay, so please take note of that. Thank you. So let's just wait patiently for this project to create successfully. Okay, snappy. Wow, this is taking a bit longer than usual. Okay, that's fine. Now we have our project created successfully. As you can see, there's a notification down here saying that creating project login screen, project creation successful, right? Exactly. So like I said, we are going to create a login screen. Alright, so by default, the project we created gave us a default form, which is the form1.vb indicated in the solution explorer window here, right? So we can simply rename this to login screen. Okay, and this will ask that whether we want to change the name references in all instances in the code base. Okay, so let's just hit yes. Okay, alright, now let me just go to the properties of this Windows Forms and then change the start position to center of the screen, so that when it loads, it will be centered on our screen. Okay, let me change the text property to login. Okay, alright, and then let me reduce the size of this form to a sizable one, an appreciable one. Okay, I'm cool with this. And there are few controls that we need to place on this form. The first one, we need a panel. So let me just go to the toolbox and then search for panel over there, and let me dock this panel to the top of this form. So with the panel selected, go to the properties window and then look for the dock property. Let me dock it to the top. Okay, and then let me go and then fetch my color, first color for this, and then change the back color for this panel to a preferred one. Okay, before then let me just remove this form border style so I don't have anything around it. Okay, exactly what I wanted. Now, having placed the panel control and then change the back color, let me just search for a picture box in the tools box window. Picture box right here, and this is going to house our logo. Alright, okay, so having done this, let me just quickly select this small arrow at the top here and then choose image, and then let me import. Let me go to the desktop. Yes, I have a folder, so let me select this one, and then I'll change the size mode to zoom so that we have it right in the middle here. Okay, exactly. Okay, okay, just resize this a little. Alright, now what we need next is a label. Now let me rename this label to login here, and then change the size of this label to perhaps 14. Okay, now we need a text box. Let's first use a text box. Okay, so a text box, select the text box from here, and then let me increase the font size of this text box to 14. Then I can increase the width to what I want. Okay, alright, now let me duplicate this label here by just holding a Control plus the C, or let me just right click and then copy and then paste. Okay, let me place it right on top of this text box and then reduce the size to 10. Okay, so I'm okay with that. Now let me select both. Let me just highlight and then select both and then nudge it a bit down. Alright, and then let me rename this label text to username. We select both and then right click, copy and then paste. Let me bring it down and then rename this to password. Okay, now we need a button as well. Okay, and resize it to suit what I want. Login. Let me change the font weight of this button to bold. Okay, now let me change the color of this button as well to the color of this panel, right? So what is the back color? Just here, copy it, select the button again, change the back color to this, and then the fore color property of this to white. Hey, where is white? Okay, let me just select white from here, and let me say the appearance of this, let me just set it to flat. Okay, then in between this button and then the password text box, let's just place a checkbox, and this will be responsible for toggling the visibility of whatever password we put in there. Show password. By default, let's just set it to show password. Alright, okay, now let's execute this to see what we have so far. So I'm just going to hit on start here, then wait for it to debug successfully. Okay, okay, this sometimes take a bit longer, so kindly bear with me. Ooh. Oh. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Can see it is looking nice already. So let me say Nicholas, the password. Okay, so under normal circumstance we are not supposed to see this password as it has been typed. So what we have to do is that we have to use this text box as a password text box. Okay, alright, so that whenever we want to see the actual password, we will use the checkbox control here to toggle its visibility. Alright, okay, let me just go back to my ID and then stop debugging the application. Let me increase the font size of this checkbox to 10. Alright, let me highlight all these controls up to this and then align it to the left. Yes. Alright, now let me just include a simple close button here. So let me quickly duplicate this. Okay, and then reduce the width to this so I can position it very well here, like so. Alright, now let me go and then change the color of the login button to this shade of blue. Okay, now I can have this as close. Let me just say exit. Okay, exactly. Alright, so let me change this text box to behave as a password text box. Okay, so I'm just going to change the property of this text box, which is a use system password character. Let's set it to true. Okay, alright, let me increase the size of this a bit to maybe 17 and then bold as well here. Okay, now let's rename the controls. Okay, so this is username, right? So with this text box selected, I'll navigate to the properties tab here and then say txt username. That is on the name property. So this is acting more or less like a variable which you can use to talk to this in the code base. Okay, this one, so let's just say txt password. This one as well, chk box, checkbox. Okay, then btn login, and then btn exit. Alright, okay, so let's just double click on the login to write some few codes behind. Okay, so when the login button is clicked, let's just say that let's deem some few variables and then initialize it to some default username and password. So deem username as string. Then let me just set it to test. Okay, deem password as string. I want to, let's just say it's to test. Okay, so let's just say that if txt okay, txt username dot text equal to our username that we define at the top there, and txt password dot text equal to password that we defined. Then let's just print a simple message, msg box, and say that login successful. Okay, say view information. Alright, now let's go back to the design view and then code for this exit button as well. So if this is clicked, let's just say that application dot exit. Let me go back to the design view, and for this check box, I'll just double click on it to assign the check change events to it. Okay, and then say that if chk box, which is the checkbox, is checked, if it is checked, then let's say that txt password dot use system password char equal to false, else txt password dot use system password char equals to true. So what basically will happen is that whenever that checkbox, this one, is checked, the visibility of this password will no longer be masked. Okay, it will be visible for you to see the actual password you are typing. Alright, but then if it is unchecked, then let's just use the masked text instead of the real password. Okay, so this is basically what is happening here. Now let's execute this to see what we've achieved so far. This time around, I'd expect this thing to be a bit faster. Okay, exactly. So let me say Nicholas once again. Nicholas. Then the password, let me say 1 2 3 4. Let's test the checkbox and see. Okay, so it is working as intended. You get it? Let me just hit on login. Oh, nothing happens. Wow. So what is happening is that we say if the username that was typed there and then the password that was typed there as well is equal to what we already defined, then it should just print a message. But we didn't give any condition if this is not met. We didn't say anything to that. Okay, so let's just go back and then see what best we can do. So else, let's just say that MSG box incorrect credentials and VB critical. Alright, let me just execute this. Okay, so Nicholas, once again, password 1231234, incorrect credentials as intended. Exactly. So let's just put in the right steps, and this place as well is test. Right, login successful. Okay, so if the login is successful, you can just redirect the user to the appropriate screen or dashboard. So that is it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and before I close the session on this tutorial, we were supposed to know how to use a text box control at the end of this tutorial, a button control, checkbox, label, picture box, as well as a panel control. Alright, so I'm sure you've learned a lot out of this. In the next series, we're going to be looking at some other interesting stuffs. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed, kindly do that, so that anytime a content is uploaded, you will not miss it. As always, I'm going to see you again. Until then, peace.